Today is Monday, July 16th, 2012. Welcome to Recommendation Monday here on Pretty Much It, where every week we tell you about the movies, DVDs, video games, music, and comics that are coming out so that you know everything that's going on and you can say, hey, I want to check that out. And then you can check it out. Before I get into what's coming out this week, I just want to remind you that this past weekend, Paul had a review of Blade Runner, and also we did a Comic-Con recap, which I highly recommend you check out if you missed anything from Comic-Con. We give you all the info that you need to know to be caught up on everything that matters. So those links are down in the info, and also along the bottom of the screen are our Facebook and Twitter, as well as how to enter the giveaway this week. Now, let's get into what's going on this week. Only one movie matters. I think you know what I'm talking about. I'm wearing the shirt. The Dark Knight Rises finally comes out this week. It is the finale to Nolan's Batman trilogy, and I mean, to say I'm excited would be an understatement. I am literally numb. That's how excited I am for this, and have been. I've been numb. People have been asking, like, why aren't you excited for this? Or why don't you seem as excited as you should be? I am. But it just doesn't feel real, you know? So I can't wait to see it. We're actually going to see it at Christopher Nolan's favorite theater in the country in New York City, and hopefully he'll be there, fingers crossed, I have no idea, but I am very excited. And that's all that is coming out this week, really. There's a couple of other small little things, but nobody else would dare go up against The Dark Knight Rises, so that's your big movie this weekend. I think it's going to be very successful. As far as DVDs, though, we've got a lot of DVDs. I'm only going to mention a few, but there are a lot. As usual, they are along the bottom of the screen right now. But the first one I'd like to mention is Extraterrestrial. Now, this is the next film from the director of Time Crimes. I don't know if it was next film or if he's done something in between, but he directed Time Crimes, Nacho Vigalondo, and I love Time Crimes, so I unfortunately wasn't able to see this. I'm very excited to finally get to see Extraterrestrial. And another movie you may not have seen or heard of is Friends with Kids. I think it went limited release, maybe it went wide and I just missed it, but I actually enjoyed this movie. I think it's good, and then it gets to a turning point where it becomes great, so I would recommend checking it out. And two movies that I enjoyed, but don't necessarily say run out and get them, are The Three Stooges, which surprisingly was actually not bad, and also Casa de Mi Padre, which is definitely for specific people. It's not for everybody. So all those DVDs make up for last week, there only being really one to mention. That's it for DVDs, though. So now let's go on to Jake with your video games.
Thanks, Eric. It's a pretty good week for video games. This week we have for PS3 the Resident Evil 2 collections, the Dark Side Chronicles and the Umbrella Chronicles, which are remasters of the games that came out on Wii a couple of years ago, the on-rails shooters that take place during all the previous Resident Evil games, and now they're Move-enabled for the PlayStation Move for the three of you that have that. They're pretty decent games, so they're worth checking out. Second coming out is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD. It's like a HD remake of Tony Hawk 1 and 2 with original controls, original characters, a lot of the original soundtrack. We've been talking about it. We're really excited about it. We can't wait to play it. We're definitely going to be playing that one a lot. And last but certainly not least is another indie horror PC game. I know how much we love talking about those, and we know how much you guys are into them. This one's called Anna. It's made by an Italian studio. I've seen a lot of this game in action. Some pre-beta builds went out. I watched a lot of it. It's very scary. It's very solitary. You feel alone, and there's a lot of puzzles. There's a lot of critical thinking, but it's like once you get forward in a puzzle, you get the crap scared out of you. So it looks really great. It's going to be like $10 or $15, and I can't wait to play it. So that's it for video games. There's enough to keep us busy this week, so let's move it on over to Kayvon.
Thank you, Jake. Now, I am Kevin, and here are your music updates for the week. So, the first major album released this week is Modest Yahoo's Spark Seeker. Now, Modest Yahoo is most well known for his songs King Without a Crown, One Day, and perhaps even more well known by his signature beard and his Hasidic Jewish look. And all of his songs are actually combine a Jewish element with hip-hop, reggae, rock, and it's just a really cool mix, except that is now changing. He's actually shaved his beard, and he's kind of taking a step back to reflect on what he's done in the past and what he's doing in the future, and he's kind of changing himself a little bit. He's taking an introspective look, he said. So this album, Spark Seeker, is kind of about that change in his life, and we'll have to see how that happens. So that's Spark Seeker, and it's the fourth studio album by Modest Yahoo. The next major album released this week is Frank Ocean's Channel Orange. So Frank Ocean started out as a ghostwriter for many hip-hop artists, R&B artists, and he actually joined a group called Odd Future. You may know them. Frank Ocean is actually putting out his debut album now, which is called Channel Orange, and it's an R&B album, but with a little bit of a twist. You know, jazz, hip-hop, it's just all kind of mixed in there. So this album is actually getting really great reviews from the critics, saying that it's really something new, really something great. So you'll definitely have to check out Frank Ocean's Channel Orange. And one last thing, you guys. So next week, we're actually going to be debuting something brand new, and here's how it works. Since you guys have a lot of different music tastes, and so do I, and there's a lot of music that I really want to cover, and there's a lot of music that you guys really want me to cover, we're going to give you guys the choice now. So you can click on a link in the info, which will bring you to a Facebook poll, which will actually allow you guys, the viewers, to choose which album you want featured next week. So this is just a trial run. We'll have to see how it works. But basically, you're going to be able to vote for the album, and you can even write in an album if you want, and if, you know, it's some really obscure thing that we didn't know about, and you really want it covered, and if it gets the most votes, it will actually be the one that we cover on here as one of our featured albums, not one of the ones running along the bottom. So definitely check that out. Click on the link in the info. And now here's Andrew with comics.
Thanks, Kevin. So this week we're going to start off with a Marvel book. We have Daredevil issue number 15 coming out. Nothing seems to be going right for Mr. Matt Murdock. His law firm is falling apart. He's being hunted in Dr. Doomland. And to top it all off, he's lost all of his powers. His powerful senses are gone. For the first time in a while, he's literally going in blind. So we'll see how badly that turns out for him. This week from Image Comics, we have Saga issue number 5 coming out. In this issue, Prince Robot IV continues his hunt for Hazel, Marco, and Alana. I'm a huge fan of Brian K. Vaughan. I love Why the Last Man. Why the Last Man was an amazing series, and this one is following up right behind it as well, so definitely check it out. And that's it for comics this week. Now back to Eric.
And those are all of the movies, video games, music, and comics that we think you guys should be checking out this week. Once again, Dark Knight Rises, I think, is really on the top of all your minds right now. That is the big thing going on this week. But let me know what else you're excited about, any comics or video games or music, whatever. Let me know what you're looking forward to, what you're not looking forward to this week. I hope you have a great week. I hope you can survive until Friday. And that's pretty much it.